What you doing? Why aren't you watching Wade's Word of the Day? 8 p.m. every night, Monday through Friday. Yeah, come on, get a word. You'll be blessed by it. Make sure that you tag Ted and text somebody. Tell them to come on into the room. I'm your host, Pastor R.D. Wade. That's what they call me,
Yeah. Here we go. Are you getting up or getting down? Somebody say hello, feel this tone. You know how we do it in this space. We try to get our healing. Hey, it's Wade's Word of the Day. 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 Wade's Word of the Day.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? It's Wade's Word of the Day. Yeah, I said it's Wade's Word of the Day. I am so happy that you all have gathered in the space with us on tonight. I see you, Duchess Scott. I see you, Nina Holmes. I see you, Verlin Barnes. Gail Gatlin, what's going on? Thank you for hanging out with us in the space on tonight. Judy Crafter, what's going on? I need everybody to take your finger. Let it do the typing. Y'all know how we do in this space. Text tag and tell somebody. Tell them to come on into the space. It's Wade's Word of the Day. Yeah, it's Wade's Word of the Day. I see you, Shakira. Thank you for popping into the space as well. Hey, this is a space where we don't tear down, we lift up. This is a space where we encourage, where we talk about all of those things that are meaningful to us, mind, body, and spirit. Yeah, and while the Bible is our baseline, we deal with it all. So I'm excited to be in the space tonight. This week, we have been dealing with all things church. Y'all know we're celebrating 23 years, the ministry that I pastor, that I oversee, Long Hill Bible Church. And so we decided to use Wade's Word of the Day this week to talk about all things church. Monday night, my mentor came into the space and he just blessed us. Yeah. When we dealt with pastoring through a pandemic, he gave us some wonderful and marvelous words. He added value to our lives. Tuesday night, some of my friends came in who are in the struggle with me. We dealt with church and social media. Yeah. Reverend Josh, Bishop John came in and they just blessed us. They sure did. And then Wednesday night, we had the Millenniums who showed up in the space. Wow. They just blew my mind. Wow. All I can say about that is wow. Then last night, building relationships beyond Sunday. Sister Duchess, she's in the chat room tonight. Sonia, Leanna Winstead. Oh, man. Who else was in the space last night? It was just amazing. It was just bananas. Tashana in the space last night. It was just bananas. And tonight, I brought in some more of my friends. And we're going to chop it up on the last night. Listen, tonight, we're even going to take your questions. If you got some questions, drop them down in the chat as we go along. But I'm excited. And so, hey, in order for us to get started, I want to send you some good energy. Come on, let's breathe it in and breathe it out. Yeah, blow out all of that negativity. Come on, one time with me. Breathe it in. Yeah, we're getting rid of that negativity because in this space, we say hello. When we say hello, that simply means we're showing up in the space. And I want to send some good energy to you tonight. So let's go ahead and do it. Here we go.
So I'm sending good energy to all my friends and enemies. Can't expect something different if you acting the same. If it don't make sense, it'll never bring change. Sending good energy to all my friends and enemies. Can't expect something different if you acting the same. If it don't make sense, it'll never bring change. I be trying to teach them, I be trying to reach them. I've been preaching like Reverend Run DMC, Adidas sneakers. People really need to take another peek deep inside. They fighting demons so they weaken, all they need is the light. This is why we we look ahead, never behind, never slip and slide. Focus on the climb, hocus pocus time. Happiness is magical, actual joy. It'll make you clap your hands and make actual noise like kindness. Let it flow through you, your skin start shining. You'd be so happy, can't even hide it. Every day would leave you delighted. It's cause of fear the people keep fighting, so I'm sending good energy.
Yeah, we are sending good energy. That's what we're doing tonight. So listen, our topic tonight is raised in church. Yeah, raised in church. Man, I got all types of stories around that. I got some folk who are coming into space tonight. Whitney, Stephanie, Rakia, Sister Lori. We're going to chop it up about being raised in church. And I am somebody who is a child of the church. One of the things that I say quite often is that I'm in the church and the church is in me. Yeah, I am in fact a apologetic for the church now. But I got to be honest, being raised in the church presented some challenges for me early on, because I had the type of parents who had you in church all the time. Now, they weren't strict in the sense of what people consider to be strictness. You know, they let us hang out sometimes, but if we went somewhere on Saturday night, you could best believe Mama and them made sure that I was in church on Sunday morning. Yeah, me and A.T. Allen, Frank, and my sisters and all of that, if we hung out, yeah, she would let us hang out a little bit, but she made sure Mama and Daddy Deacon Roosevelt made sure that come Sunday morning we was in church. Mama would come down. If I was hanging out Saturday night listening to all of the music of the times and of the day, Mama would come early Sunday morning into our bedroom blowing that gospel music. I would say to myself, not again. Please stop. But she used to say something like this: if you want to hang out with the devil, today you're going to hang out with Jesus. You know, that's what they did. That's what they did. And so there were some challenges around that. There were some challenges around wanting to be what my parents wanted me to do, but also wrestling with them streets. You know, wanting to be out there with my friends, kicking it, but always understanding this connectivity to He who knows all things, He who sees all things, He who makes all things well. I mean, I was raised so hard in the church that when I got older, I was trying to get as far away from Sunday morning as possible. And so I thought that I could run to the West Coast. You know, I had LL Cool J on my mind. I'm going back to Cali, going back to Cali. But there's one thing about the Lord. He is, in fact, the God chaser. And I was one of them type of people, because I was raised in church. I would be far away on the West Coast from home doing my dirt. But when I would show back home in Ohio, I was that type of dude who was always at the altar, trying to get all of that dirt that I had done, you know, way back there. I'm at the altar spitting and crying and all of that kind of stuff. Because one thing that I'm grateful for about being raised in the church, even though I wanted to do my own thing, I wanted to experience my own experience, I'm so grateful that when times got really rough, I knew where to run to. So yeah, there was some good, there was some bad, there was some wonderful. But one thing about being raised in church, when things got difficult when I got older, I knew where I could run to. So let's chop it up tonight. Let's talk about it. I got some folk coming into the space tonight that I'm so thankful and grateful to have with me on tonight. And we're just gonna, talk about it a little bit. Y'all welcome them into the space as they come in. Rakia is coming into the space. Whitney and Lori is coming into the space, and Stephanie is coming into the space as well. Ladies, what's going on this evening? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
You got me turned up already over here.
Got y'all turned up already. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Man, it's so wonderful to be hanging out with y'all tonight. And we're just gonna talk about what it means to be raised in church. And what I'm thankful tonight, I have a couple mothers who have raised their children in church, and then I have a few children who have been raised up in church. And we want to look at those different perspectives. And I'm not like big on bios and all of that stuff. You know, you can tell us about yourself better than I can, right? And so I'm going to give you all just a minute or so just to tell the people in the space who you are, right? You know, what you like, what, you know, all of that kind of stuff. Whatever it is, I'm going to give you a few moments just to tell the folk about yourself. Let's start with Stephanie. Stephanie, go ahead and talk to the people.
Hi, my name is Stephanie. I'm a mother of two, so I was raised in church. So I'm now raising my two children in virtual church at this point. So I'm just grateful to be a part of the celebration of the 23rd Long Hill Bible Church. Thank you, Pastor, for inviting me in, and Whitney and Lori for inviting me to your church. I've been born in the church, so I mean, I ain't got nothing but the church in me. So that's
I know that's right. I know that's right. Rakia, talk to the people. Talk to the people. Tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Rakia. I was raised in a church as well. I am raising my children now in church. I am a mom of 5 kids, ranging 18 to 1.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of kids.
Awesome.
It's a lot of kids.
God bless you.
I know that's right.
Already.
Yes.
I know that's right. I know that's right. All right, Sister Laura, talk to us. Talk to us, Sister Laura.
All right. I'm Lori, and I've been at Long Hill Bible Church longer than Reverend Wade, but I have not been raised in church.
Yeah.
So I know what it is to be in the world and to know how God had delivered me from the world. So I know, and now I have 3 kids that I have raised in the church. So I know the ins and the outs, and I know what God can do. So I know how it was to be out there and not to be raised, but I raised my kids to train them up. So I know they'll be back. So
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Whitney, talk to us. Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
I'm Whitney, her daughter. Yeah, so I've been raised at Long Hill Bible Church. You know, church for me being there is all love. You know how people may have stories about, you know, going to church and they were forced. And I feel you, Pastor, on Saturday night, if you go hang out Sunday morning, I don't care what you're doing, you better get up. You can drag yourself all you want to. You better be ready when it's time to go. But she raised us right. She instilled that on us. And, you know, as a child, you don't really look forward to going to church. But as you grow in the church, you take in the word, God is good. And I won't ever leave the church.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well, that's good. That's good. So let's start here. Let's start here. So I know Lori. Let's deal a little bit with your story, because the other ladies, they really kind of have been raised in church, right? But you talked a little bit about it. You said you weren't really raised in church, but how did you end up there? And then why do you think it's very valuable, you know, to raise your kids in church, especially in this day and time when there are a lot of children who don't have any type of experience with church at all, or what that means to be in Christ, be in relationship with Christ. So what led you to be in that space and then thought it was important to raise your kids, even though you weren't raised that way? Go ahead. Talk to us.
Okay. Even growing up as a teenager, I got into all kind of things, hanging out with kids, drinking, smoking weed. Then after that, I started doing like cocaine for even 20 years when I had my first daughter and my son. Then I met people that invited me to Long Hill Bible Church. So I was still going there, going to Bible study. I was even getting high on Fridays and still going to church on Sundays every week, like you, going to the altar. Lord, forgive me for it, keep going. But the people loved on me so much. I pressed my way every week still. And you know what? God's grace and mercy. And I know that God was the only one that ever took that away from me. So no one could ever get the credit for that. I never went to an AA class in my life. So I know it was God's grace and God's mercy. So when I knew that happened with me, when the experience of me, I knew that it had to be for my kids to learn too, because he said, if you train them up, even when they're old, they'll depart, but they will come back. So I was an experience in that situation.
Amen. Amen. That's just powerful. Just that testimony right there of, it's just a challenge, especially if you're outside and everybody is saying, why do you want to be a part of that? Right? Why would you invest your life in that? I remember one of my colleagues said to me, I'm raising my kids in church, and one of my colleagues said to me, well, when they get older, they're going to go their own way. And my response was, I did too. You know what I mean? I did too. But I'm grateful that my parents gave me that experience. And so when those moments were challenging, I knew where to run back to.
Yeah.
I knew where to run back to. Whitney, would you say that was your experience? I mean, has that been your experience? I mean, you're watching your mom. Y'all didn't really have that background in terms of, lineage, family upon family being in church. And now your mom is coming home and saying, man, we're going to church, right? And you're like, what are you talking about? Right? Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it definitely was different. I mean, like I said, as a kid, it was just like something that you had to do. But as I got older, I went to college. I want to come home. I want to wash my clothes. I want to get food. You want to come here and you want to wash clothes and get food? You better be in church on Sunday. It was like a give or give. Oh, you know what I mean? But yeah, like even me going to school, like I went to church one Sunday. I told all my roommates. The next Sunday, I brought everybody to church with me. But it's just that good feeling of going to church. And anytime I've ever strayed away from church, it was more of a sense of me straying away myself, because church was always a good place for me to, heal, to, you got to cry, you got to get it out, to get some love. Like I've been in a bad situation where, I was young, I got arrested, and I was super embarrassed to come to church. I knew that everybody knew because it was in a newspaper and it was embarrassing for me. And I showed up to church and the church loved on me so hard. It was just so accepting to know that you have a place like inside of the outside world that you can actually go and feel that love. And me getting older and still feeling that love, it's just a place of, it's just a feeling that you can't get anywhere else as much as you try.
Wonderful, wonderful. Rakia, what would you say to that? I mean, was that your experience? Did you come from parents who put you in church, and now you found value in that, and now you want to raise your kids and show them that structure? Talk to us a little bit about, your perspective as you're listening to their story. Does that remind you of your story?
Well, yes, my parents, my mom went to church every Sunday, and from her going to church, my dad never really went, but I started going. So my mom had 4 children, and out of all my 4 kids, it was just me wanting to go to church, hear the word, be with the other children, go to Sunday school. And of course, I strayed away also, couldn't find myself in a church. So growing up, I was everywhere. Every church I kind of went to had to feel it. If I wasn't feeling it, I didn't go back. I went somewhere else until I finally found my church home. And even with my children, I have 5 kids. I feel that you have to feel comfortable. You have to really make sure that you're comfortable when you come in, especially when you have kids, because, when you come in and you're new and you have children, you want to make sure that, if my kids making too much noise, are they behaving right? You got to make sure everything is right. And when I came and I found the church I'm currently at, it was welcoming to know that, okay, my kids was crying, and I got twins. So twins, they all over the place. When I started going back into church, they was all over, and they came over and they welcomed me, and, it's okay. I even started singing on the praise team. You know, the kids started crying. I got them. You know, go ahead, still go up there and sing. So I definitely think it's very important that you have to feel comfortable and right at home. Because if not, that's not a church for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that the church has to make space for children, right?
Yeah.
And too often, I'm gonna ask you this, Stephanie. Too often, you know, Rakia mentioned like the crying and everything like that, and too often people be staring and turn around looking, and I would be like, hey, they just praising. You know, I'm the type of preacher, I can preach through all of that kind of stuff. But has that been your experience, Stephanie? Tell us a little bit about your background, backdrop, and then why you think it's important to raise your two boys. And I love your two boys and everything like that. So go ahead and talk about that.
Well, I mean, my background being raised in church was a lot different. It was super strict, Pentecostal, gotta wear skirts, no nail polish, can't go to the movies, like just straightforward out the book. Like, so, I mean, I was a traditional raised in child church. Like we couldn't do anything. So like, you know, kids crying, our pastor was like, shut that baby up. Like, you know, I'm like, he's a baby. Like, what's he supposed to do?
Yeah.
It was challenging, but I mean, the word was what got me, even as a young child. I used to be like, I don't really care about the singing. It was the word for me, and it's still the word for me. So I don't know. Church was, you know, it had its ups and downs for me.
Yeah. Well, I think the reality is, for many of us, there are ups and there's downs. You know, you come in and to Rakia's point, you're expecting perfection, discovering there is no perfection, right? That in fact, and I think that's the biggest challenge, specifically like if you're in Lori's case, or even if you've been raised, you're looking for perfection from people, failing to realize there is no perfection, man. We're all a work in progress. Yes. And then, Stephanie, you say you came from a strict background, and so they have this level of scrutiny on you, right? Yeah. That becomes challenging, that kind of makes you want to, man, I'm getting up out of here, you know?
I don't even see where is the love? You know what I mean? So like, I mean, the love was like more, I don't want to say harsh, but it was like, I don't know, maybe tough love, but that's not all Christ is, you know, tough love. Like, you got to love on the people and not like throw it on them, you know, like you got to love on them. And I think we're going to your church. I actually seen the love, like you guys, you know, I was like, this is church. I'm like, I can come to church and be like free. Like, I'm like, I can't go to church if my mind ain't right, if I ain't got nothing right. That's on. Sometimes I just want to be in the house of the Lord. But I can't go because of the, you know, the stigma that we have as Pentecostals in church.
Okay. I mean, it is, and oftentimes what I say to people, you don't know what anybody has gone through to even get, you know, to the gathering place. You know, what it took, and especially if we're talking about raising kids, right? Because in order to get your kids there, especially when they're young, it's this whole regiment that you have to go through, right? You got to get them up. You got to try to pull them into the space. You got to get them dressed, right? And so you're coming into the church, and to Rakia's point, you want people to accept you and everything, but they don't realize the challenge of just getting there, right? Right. Just getting there. And when you get there, you want to find love. You want to find understanding. Would you say that, Rakia?
Yes, absolutely. You have to meet people where they're at. So if I'm coming in 5 minutes late, I can never bring, even now, I can't bring all 5 of my kids with me to church. It's just impossible. Somebody woke up late, this one's sleeping, their hair not done. It's just not happening. So, and I need to be at church by 10:30, and we're in person for our church. I go to Restoration Springs. We're in person. So I got to be there to be able to sing. So, you know, it's not happening. Somebody getting left if I'm gonna be on time. That's just it. So, and that's my reality. But when I get there, I do want to make sure that the ones that are with me are taken care of if I need to go up or if I need to be able to, welcome someone else that's coming in. So absolutely, you have to meet people where they are.
Yeah, I would agree. What would you say to that, Lori, in terms of meeting people where they are? What would you say to that?
I say, yeah, because I remember too, for me, even coming in, because I was the person that was not in church. So I had got around a lot of people that were in church. So me, I'm just here. I'm filled with the Spirit. I'm reading the word. I'm like, well, Reverend Davis, like, whatever the word say, this is it. I'm going by what the word say. But then people try to put religious stuff, rules, regulations. I'm like, hey. So then I get bound up because I don't know rules and regulations because I'm not grown up in church. So they put stipulations on me that I can't fulfill because I don't know. And that was a little problem with me and back then. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But I love my church because if it ain't in the word, Reverend Davis like, no, we don't do that. But they would still try to put it on us. But this is why I love my church now, because it ain't about that.
Yeah. So I mean, if we're going to bring people into the gathering space, that thing we call church. So one, I think what I'm hearing from everybody, there has to be a sense of love, right?
Yes.
And acceptance, right?
Yes.
Understanding that people come from various spaces and bringing various levels of baggage, right?
Yes.
And I think the worst thing that we can do is assume that everybody know what we know.
That's
right.
Yeah.
It's true.
Or that everybody has come from what we have come from, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the worst thing that we can do. And so it's really about connecting in truth. But then also, I talked about it last night, understanding this thing called grace, right?
Yeah.
Understanding this thing called grace. Stephanie, talk to us. You said you came out of a strict environment. When did you get to a place where you understood, man, okay, I know I got to have some truth, but it needs to be saturated with a little bit of grace in order for me to walk in this thing and be authentic in my relationship with God?
I don't know, probably as an adult, because, as a child, you just got to go with it. So just like as an adult, like I seen like it didn't take all of that. Like the rules, obviously got to be rules and everything. You got rules in your job, you got your rules at home. So like there has to be some type of rules put in place. But within those rules, it got to work for everybody, And if you're coming in, like my thing is when I go into church, I want to be loved, but I don't want to be, beaten down at the same time. Like you could pull me to the side and say, hey, I'm praying for you, but why you got them pants on? Like I'm just happy to be here. I don't think I'm gonna go to hell for, you know what I mean? Like just stuff like that. So I don't know. I just feel like we gotta just do better as Christians on loving on the people, but still, getting them with the word. The word is going to change everybody's heart. It's not what we do, it's what the word say and why God going in them and changing them. So by just preaching the word and teaching the word, it's going to do its job. If you receive it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. There is value in understanding. I say it all the time. A church has to have some truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the church that is strictly law without any understanding of grace, to me, will not help anybody. I mean, this is the issue of the Pharisees. The Pharisees have a level of truth, but in their understanding of what they believe to be truth, they actually run people away versus allowing people to come in, right? And so you end up being critical on all types of things, and you pride yourself in that. You start to pride yourself in that, and like you're so holy, but
true.
We're human beings, and the reality is, ain't none of us perfect. I don't care what collar you got on. I don't care what title you holding. Ain't none of us perfect. We all got some stuff. You know what I mean? And that's just the truth. And so if we can get to the place and space, especially as we're dealing with kids, specifically in this new in this new generation. We had some of the millennials on, and they're just not going for some of the things that we just kind of was like, this is what it is. You know, we gotta deal with it. When I get older, I'm gonna get up out of here. You know what I mean? But these millennials, they're not dealing. They're like, nope, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not going through that. Right? They'll challenge you on that. So Whitney, yeah, am I right? Am I right
You're
about
right.
that? Though?
You're absolutely right.
Right. So if we, we're talking about being raised in church, we're talking about raising children in church. What would you say would be ideal, right? So we have these children. Where is that connecting space? So obviously we understand as parents, on some level, I have to kind of make them come. Right. There is a level of I got to make them come. But once I make them come, what should be there for them? What should be there for them? What should be the encounter? What should be the piece that would make them say, man, I want to belong. I know my parents made me come, but now that I'm here, I find some value there. I want to ask everybody that. So let me just start with Rakia. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well,
You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
I definitely think for me with with coming into church, just making sure, my kids feel welcome too. And I always check in with my kids in church. I don't know, for me, when I was going to church, I don't let my kids bring their electronics. I don't let them, you're here to hear the word. You're here to listen to what, Bishop is talking about or Pastor is talking about. So for me, I'm always checking and making sure they following rules, they following directions. And I'm making sure that, they're feeling like they understand what is being taught. I think that's very important. And I also think for me as a mother, bringing my children into church, I want to be able to, if I need to step out, to be able to feel comfortable with leaving my kids with someone else, so that I can do what I need to do. Because I'm a leader in the church. I'm actually head over the women's department. So there's a lot that I need to do. So I need to make sure that I'm in position to be able to help anyone, or if I need to pray over someone or whatever needs to happen, I need to make sure I feel comfortable enough for my kids and my kids feel comfortable too. Because a lot of times I think, when at different churches I've been at, the kids are all over the place, or the kids are just they're not together and they're not learning together. So I appreciate when the kids are being involved too in church as well. So I think those are important factors for me. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Stephanie, what would you say to that? What would you say to that in terms of?
I would definitely say that the kids are comfortable and the word, and on the kids level as well, like in Sunday school, like actually teaching the kids on their level of what and who God is from the word, So just, I guess, educating our children with the word, but still even with today's time too, though, like what's going on in the world, and teaching them how to move, in today's world. So just enlighten them with the education from God and from the world. I think that's what the church need nowadays, especially today.
Yeah, I would agree. Lori and Whitney, what would y'all add to that? Whoever wants to start first.
Well, I would say with making the kids feel included. Like when we have church, when the service is over, how you allow the smaller kids to come with you and stand by the door. Like how we, we haven't in a while, but how we take those trips together as a church, how we do different anniversary things and include them in different things. It draws their attention and it makes them feel an importance in church. And I mean, by them being interested with going to church and feeling comfortable, I think that their ears will lend to hearing the word as they grow older. But absolutely making them feel included. You know what I mean? Don't just have them kids sitting there being quiet. Pastor, you preach, you relate to all of us. You might throw a name or two out there that'll catch their, like, oh, they're talking about my mom. Like, you know what I mean? Like something that will just make them feel like they're not just, bodies just in the church.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Lori, what would you add to that?
piggybacking on her, I think to educate them on their level, to make them feel special, that they're needed, they're wanted, and to let them know that it's about them too, that they're here and that we want them here. A lot of times kids don't feel like we're here because of our parents. We have to let them know that we're here because we want them here, and we have to let them know that they are our future and we want them because we need them here. And sometimes we got to stay at their level and to make it fun for them, because when it's fun for them, they actually learn. Because a lot of times they do hear what we say and they repeat everything we say, because there's times when they can do a skit on us and they can act just like us. So anything we do, they already know, because they can act us all out the whole sermon in church. So they are listening. So they are actually imitating us. So everything we could tell them anything, but whatever we do, believe it, they see it.
And let me add this. And I want to know if you all agree. But also understanding that they're children.
Yes.
You understand what I mean? You understand what I mean? Understanding that they're children, that they're going to make mistakes. And so while I want the kids to pay attention, see, I'm gonna say something maybe y'all don't agree with. While I want the kids to pay attention, I understand it's hard.
Yes.
For a 3 to 5 year old to sit in church for an hour.
Yes.
I'm just keeping it 100. See, it's hard to keep that child, in that space. And even if we get to 10, into that 10-year-old space, right? It's hard to get them to stay locked in for that hour and a half or whatever that you're in church. So I may be on the latter. I ain't mad if you bring electronics because I understand that they are children, but it's about teaching them the value around that, right? We're not here just simply to play, but I also understand that you are children, right? That you are a child. And sometimes I think in bringing children in the church, we start like from an adult perspective with them, like they're not going to make mistakes, like they're going to be there. I get it, I understand. Hell, I don't understand some things. You understand what I'm saying? And so I think we have to be clear in terms of that. If we want to keep them in, we have to understand that they're children and that they're learning and that they're growing. Celebrate their growth, right? Be patient in their weakness. The same things that we would want in our life, right? And they're not gonna, sometimes we paint them up. We throw the dresses on them and everything, and we try to make them holy, but that's an inside job, right?
Yeah.
Would you understand? Would we agree with that? Yeah. And so I think just understanding that they're children, that they're going to make some mistakes, that they're not adults, that service is long sometimes, because it's long for some of y'all adults. I'll be checking y'all out. When you see them.
Yes,
sir. It's way too long. Not your church. Not your church.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you want to teach them structure, but then understand, one of the things that we would try to do is have fun moments for children. I mean, because they are children, and I think that's critically. That's critically important. That's all I'm saying. But y'all agree with that, though? Just understanding that they are that they are children, right? And don't get so, don't get so caught up in, we always in church, when we're in person, turn to your neighbor, and sometimes we get so distracted in what we believe our neighbor thinks is important as it relates to us raising our kids. I say it like this: no marriage is the same. How we raise our children is not the same across the board. We can have these different aspects that we surround ourselves with. And then finally, even our relationship with God is not the same across the board, because we all learn and grow with him through our experience with him. So none of our experiences are the same. We can have moments where we can say, yes, God made a way, right?
Amen.
We can say moments, yes, where God was a healer, but that experience in and of itself is different for every individual, right? And I would argue even in terms of how we go about raising our children, because one, all of our children are different.
Amen.
Right? Different personalities. You have that one child, you just look at them and they sit their tail on down. But you have that one child, you got to look at them, you got to
Yell at
threaten
them.
them, you got to pull the belt, you got to do all of that kind of stuff just to get them to sit down.
That's right.
Am I right about it?
You're weird, brother.
That's true.
That's true. And so we got to understand that in church, even as we're educating them in the things of God and in the experience of God, that their experience and their personalities are different, just like our experience and our personalities are, in fact, different, right?
Right.
All right. All right. Well, y'all know in this space, those of you who hang out with us every night, we close with a little word. I mean, we close with a little song and everything like that. I'm going to pop out of the space. We're going to try to play the song, but I'm going to give y'all, we've been here now close to 50 minutes. I know what it is, screen time, but hey, you all have been such a blessing tonight. I really appreciate you all coming into the space, sharing your experience. I think tonight that you have not only blessed those who are in the space, but you have blessed parents. You have blessed adults who had these same situations and these same circumstances and have felt, hey, we need a little bit of this, so that our kids can be comfortable, that they would want to come into the space. So I'm so grateful and thankful for your experience and for you being willing to share your experience on tonight. You have really blessed me, and I'm sure you have blessed others in the space. Matter of fact, I'm asking folk who are in the room, if you've been blessed tonight, if tonight has added value to you, just take your finger, let it do the type, and just simply say, hey, you had, some value was added to your life on tonight. We appreciate each and every one of you. So I'm going to give you all, as we close out, a minute to share with the people who are in the space, right? To bring value, whatever it is on your heart. I want you to center yourself right now. And I just want you to share with the people what is pressing on your heart, even, around this topic of raising and what would be of importance, right, as we go forward in this thing that we call the church, right? So I just want you to bless some folk tonight. I'm going to give you all some time to share whatever you want to share, about a minute. Rakia, go ahead. You go first.
So I just want to say, being a mom of 5, I got every different type of child, like you said, the ones that you could look at them, they're listening. You got to really look at them, do all types of things to make them listen. So, I really want people to understand, parenting is not easy, and everyone parents differently. And no matter if you're quote unquote great parent, not so great parent, every child is different. So just take the patience with that mother or even that child when they're trying to redirect them. And like you said, they are kids, they're learning, every week could be different. You don't know what the child is facing when they're coming through those doors. So just give them some extra love, give that parent some extra love. And, instead of, going on the sideline and talking, just pray for them, because you have no idea what's going on in that household and how much it took that mom to come out there with those children.
That's right.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Stephanie, go ahead and share with the folk tonight.
I would say just to continue to love on yourself and love others, and don't beat yourself up. Just get back up, try again. God is definitely forgiven, and just trust the process. Like, you're gonna go through things. You just got to know that you're gonna go through things. But on the other side, that means you done came out, so you could help somebody else. So my thing is just read your word, learn God for yourself. Everything else is going to fall into place. It's not about, what church you go to, because we are the church. The church lives within us. God lives within us. So we just got to continue to let our light shine. I mean, holiness is everything. And however you decide to get the word, just get it and, apply it to your life.
That's good. Thank you so much.
Be your authentic self. Be real. Being real is going to get you, very far.
Okay. There's always a moment when I say, wait a minute, you can't go over that. You can't, you can't go over that. I need you to, slow down and say that again now. you said be authentic, be real, right? Share that one more time, because some folk need to understand that. I mean, you know, being fake is no longer vogue. You understand what I mean? Do you be boo boo? You got to be real in this season, right? Share that again. Tell the folk that one more time.
But just be your authentic self and be real. Because they definitely out here canceling fake people. So you don't want to be canceled in 2021. So, you gotta be real. If you're real with yourself, you're real with God, He's gonna help you out of your situation. You gotta be real. That's the only way out, you know? Because what you gonna lie to yourself and God? The people, you know, God see you, but the people see you too. You just gotta be real.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right, Whitney, go ahead. Share with the folk.
What I would say is love God first and let that love flow through you. Like I said, I haven't ever felt love, so I felt the love come from God through other people. Like growing up as a kid, I knew my mom loved me, but when my mom learned to love God, I felt like she loved me more and showed me that true love. So what I would say is love on your children, love on your family, and get that love from God. Like Stephanie said, that authentic love. Be your authentic self, but get that good love so you can give it out and be Christ-like. God wants us to, you know, we got to love God, we got to love people, and we got to love the community. That's what LHBC is about, and that real love. So that's what I would say. Just love on each other and get that good love.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. That was great. Say that one more time. Love God, love people.
You gotta love God,
love,
love people, love the community.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about. Girl, you've been listening. You've been paying attention.
I said, I hear you, bastard.
All right, Lori, go ahead and share with the people. Let me say this about. That's right. Let me say this about Sister Lori. I mean, I just love Sister Lori. Sister Lori is one of the most generous people I have ever met in my life. I mean, some of the toughest moments in ministry, challenges around the church and trying to do what we needed to do in terms of building and those particular things. Sister Lori, in her generosity, not only in terms of physical stuff, you know, helping to make sure that things will get done, but I've seen Lori as folk have come into the space, new people, old people, and they needed anything. Sister Lori would buy them a dress, buy them some pants, put a few dollars in their pocket. I am so blessed to be in connection with Lori Thomas. She has been such a great blessing to our ministry and such a great blessing to me. And I did not want to leave this space and celebrating these 23 years without letting everybody know that I am so grateful for you. I love that lady. I am so grateful.
Thank you, Pastor.
Sister Lori. I really am. I really am. Okay, I'm gonna give you those last words, my sister.
Now I don't know what to say. No, I know. It's you just really have to just love actually on yourself and on your children to communicate with them. And I really have I'm just thankful that I learned from the streets, because what I have did on the world's way, the natural stuff that I did, I worked that, I did that well, that God turned it around for me, and the supernatural that I do well, because what I did, and I did drink it high, I did that real well. So when God transformed my life and he changed it around, and I do for Christ, I try to do real well. And this is why I love Reverend Wade, because he teaches us to do stuff with excellence. And I mean, excellence to God, not to people. So whatever I do is to the glory of God. So this is what I try to teach my kids too. And to anybody I come in contact with. If you love them, you got to love them like it's yourself. So that's all I have to say.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Man, you all have been a blessing. Let's go out this way. We're gonna try to, I'm gonna pop out. Y'all will still be in. I'm gonna put it on solo, let it play a little while. But let's see if y'all feeling this song. If you're feeling this song, let us know. It's one I played before, but here. to us. Hey, if this word tonight has added value to your life, hey, I need you to make sure you text tag and you tell somebody, hey, we're here every night, Monday through Friday. We call it Wade's Word of the Day. I'm your host, Pastor R.D. Wade. Make sure that you tell somebody this year we're celebrating 23 years. Meet us in the space, the virtual space. We call it Sundays with LHBC. This Sunday, 10:15. It's going to be bananas. Y'all don't want to miss it. We got all types of special surprises for you on this Sunday. So make sure that you show up in the space. Matter of fact, if you're in the area on tomorrow, it's a barbecue, y'all. Meet us up at the Garden, 131 Garden Street between 1 and 3 p.m. Come on, hang out with your boy. Get to know your boy. Hey, we would love to see you. If you want to partner with us, be a part of what it is that we're doing, we're asking everyone, give a one-time gift this week in celebration of 23 years, $23. Just drop it on the Cash App, LHBC 131. Hey, we would appreciate it. We love you all. We thank God for each and every one of y'all. Rakia, it was bananas tonight. Thank you for your words. Stephanie, we appreciate you. Certainly Lori and Whitney, y'all are the bomb diggity. I appreciate y'all. I'll talk to everybody real soon. Come on, give them the peace sign. We out of here. Peace.